What's good, people? This is Sierra Leone Documentaries. If this is the first time you're coming across this channel, you are highly welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe. The man known to history as Sengbe Pieh, also known as Joseph Cinque, was a West African man of the Mende people who led a revolt of many Africans on the Spanish slave ship known as La Amistad. Sengbe Pieh was born around 1814 in Sierra Leone. He was a farmer and a trader, and at the time he was sold into slavery, he had a wife and 3 children. In 1839, slave traders kidnapped Sengbe Peih while he was working in the rice field. He was bought by a Viking known as King Shaka, and King Shaka sold him to a man known as Pedro Blanco, who was a Spanish slave trader. He was then taken to Lomboko off the Gallinas coast, and eventually in June 1839, Sengbe Peih together with countless others were illegally taken to Havana, Cuba, where he was sold into slavery. Sengbe Peih and 52 other people, which include 48 adults and 4 children, were purchased by 2 Spanish plantation owners. The Spaniards arranged to transport Sengbe Peih and others on the coastal schooner La Amistad, with the intention of selling them as slaves at ports along the coast of Cuba to work on sugar plantations. On the 3rd day on the voyage to Cuba, Sengbe Peih unshacked himself and others in the ship and started a revolt. They took control of the ship and they killed the captain, the cook, and 2 other crew members escaped in a lifeboat. All this happened after the cook jokingly told them that they were to be killed, salted, and cooked. In the revolt, 2 Africans were also killed. Having taken control of the ship, Sengbe Peih ordered that the sailors direct the ship back to Sierra Leone. Rather than comply, the navigator secretly changed the direction at night and directed the ship in the opposite direction, towards the Americas, in the hope of attracting the attention of one of their ships and regain control. After about 2 months, the Amistad ship reached the United States waters, and it was discovered and seized by the US brig Washington, right off the coast of Long Island, New York. And when the US brig Washington discovered what happened in the ship, according to the Spaniards, Sengbe Peih and the other surviving Africans were arrested and charged with murder and piracy. The Spaniards claimed that Sengbe Peih and the other Africans had been born in Cuba and that they were already slaves at the time of their purchase and were therefore legal property. None of the survivors on the ship spoke English, so they could not explain what had taken place. Interpreters from Mende to English were found, who enabled the Africans to tell their story to the court. Sengbe Peih served as the group's informal representative. The court, which was the district court first, then the circuit court, and finally the Supreme Court, ruled in that Sengbe Peih and the others had been illegally captured and thus illegally sold into slavery, and that Sengbe Peih and the other captives were entitled to take whatever legal measure necessary to secure their freedom, including the use of force. So the case was ruled in favor of Sengbe Peih and the other surviving captives. In March 1841, the Supreme Court ruled that the Africans mutinied to regain their freedom after being kidnapped and sold illegally, and the court ordered the Africans freed and returned to Africa if they wish. In November 1841, Sengbe Peih and the others returned to Sierra Leone, and they were accompanied by missionaries charged with helping them readjust to life in Africa, and they reached their homeland in 1842. In Sierra Leone, Sengbe Peih encountered a civil war, and it is believed that Sengbe Peih never found his family, as reports say that they perished during an ongoing war. Little is known of what became Sengbe Peih after his return to Sierra Leone. Rumors circulated, and some maintained that he moved to Jamaica. Others held that he became a merchant or chief, perhaps trading slaves himself. Thank you all for watching. This is Sierra Leone Documentaries. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.